Welcome to Our Hometown, the show where we take an in-depth look at some of the people and organizations that make this area unique. This month, we'll take a look at all of the arts in Brunswick County. On today's show, we'll have Jeffrey Stites and Sue McCallum, who will share with us about Brunswick Little Theater and their upcoming productions. Then, Sue McCallum will stay with us as we bring on Adrian Varnum to talk about the Brunswick Arts Council. And lastly, you'll find all about the Brunswick Bands and their forthcoming concert with George Boberg and Frank Mahoney. So stay with us for the next half hour as we explore our hometown. My guests are Jeffrey Stites and Sue McCallum. They're with the Brunswick Little Theater. Welcome to our show.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
Jeffrey, you're president. Sue, you're president-elect, so we have the key movers and shakers here for our Brunswick Little Theater.
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about the history of the theater. It's been around for 20 or 30 years, am I correct?
Yes, it has. And it began in Southport, and it really began over a glass of wine with several people who were talking about the fact that it would be nice if there were a theater in Southport. And from there, and Jeffrey, you can help me if I need some refreshing, but the Centennial Center was used for quite a while. It was a building that had formerly been a gym. And that didn't have air conditioning, it didn't have heat in the winter, it was cinder block, but they had a really successful run with Brunswick Little Theater.
And the theater's been in continuous existence since then,
yes,
that
it
correct?
has. Yes, it really has.
Left the Centennial Center in 2009, I believe, and since then we've performed at various places throughout the county until just a few months ago we finally found our own home again.
Jeff, you're the president this year, and it's been a banner year for Brunswick Little Theater. And
it's been a busy year.
And I know how hard you've been working on behalf of Brunswick Little Theater. Tell us a little bit about the last 5 or 6 months.
We've been looking for a home since we left the Centennial Center, but we didn't have a serious prospect for one until recently. We found a place on River Road, 133, heading out of Southport, that has been used as a church and a school by the Southport Christian School and the Christian Mission Alliance Church.
Right.
And several of our members drove by it and saw that it was vacant, and we looked into it. And Sue can tell you the story. It's a series of events. We fell into the place, and in August, the 1st of August, actually during a show in Odell Williamson Auditorium, I signed the lease on the set of Into the Woods.
All right, Sue, tell us a little bit about how all this occurred.
Well, there are 2 buildings, each with 2 really big rehearsal spaces, separate rooms, so 4 separate rehearsal rooms, and a lovely piece of property, and it just seemed like it was meant to be. Things fell into place for us.
So in the course of a few months, you've gone from homeless, and I say that in the kindliest fashion, to your new theater building.
Well, it does enable us to do multiple performances, one right after another, to be able to overlap rehearsal periods. And I would say for a number of years that Brunswick Little Theater existed from production to production, maybe 4 times a year. But there wasn't the sense of community on a weekly basis, seeing people there rehearsing, and it just has created a great sense of community and excitement for all of us.
And we call it a theater, but it's really a performance arts facility, am I right?
It is. It's a performing arts complex, essentially.
Right.
It is a large building. It has a kitchen. It has a very nice lobby. It has dressing rooms. And like Sue says, it's got 4 large rooms in the back, and it's got a lot of empty property behind those rooms that could be used in the future.
And parking as well.
And it's got plenty of parking. It's an ideal facility. It seats 100 people in the audience in the main theater, which is perfectly suitable for us. Yet it's small enough that we don't need to mic actors, so you have more of a live feel in the place. It's ideal. It's ideal for actors. It's ideal for directors. It's ideal for an audience. I think people are really going to like it.
Well said. And Jeff, you've been instrumental in recent weeks in working your way through the regulatory issues that require you to comply with county and state regulations as to a performing arts center.
We didn't know what we were getting into, honestly.
Fair to say.
But it has been a learning experience, and it's been an adventure. And the people at the county have been terrific. They've helped us every step of the way, and we've finally, as of this week, gotten our permission to open as a theater, and it will open tonight, actually, the day we're recording this interview.
Applause, applause, applause.
And all of us have been working about round the clock, I would say, the last week or so. Whether we're not on the we're on the property, we're all just very busy bees running around and very excited.
Let's take you back a little bit and talk about the purpose of Brunswick Little Theater. I can recall one or both of you using the term 3 different E's. Tell us about that, the purpose of the theater.
The purpose of the theater is to entertain, to enrich, and to educate. And to that end, we have workshops, we have individual levels and divisions for youth and for adults. And Jeffrey might want to say some things about that.
We began 2 years ago a workshop for children 4 to 12 called Let's Play. It's been very successful. It started out as a weekend workshop, expanded to a couple weeks of summer camp during the summers, and it's served probably well over 100 children all told. And it moves them from no experience with theater to being comfortable on stage.
Sure.
And it's a wonderful thing, and we're expanding that next spring to have the next level up. We have a group of performers, youth performers called Stage Struck Players.
Right.
That is a little older than the Let's Play group.
Give us
they
the age
start
group.
at 12 and move up to about 18, high
Thank
school
you.
age. And we're going to start having theater workshops for them as well
Right.
in the spring. So that will be an addition. And soon we're going to have a group of seniors as well. So
We're calling it Silver Stage Troupe. So that will be an extension. There will be people from probably 40 on up to 70 in that group, maybe 75 in some cases. And so it really does bear out our mission of entertaining, but also enriching the lives of people of all ages who participate. And then, of course, education with our training workshops. And each production experience really works with actors on being on stage, on motivation, on what their characters are. And that really in itself builds a sense of community. You have a team behind stage, backstage working
Sure.
to support. You have people making costumes and learning to make costumes. You have the director, the choreographer, the musical director, and you get a real sense of ensemble spirit through that experience.
And you say that so well, and what I want our viewers to know is that there's something for everyone. So we go to the theater, we buy our ticket and we enjoy the play, but there's so much more opportunity for all of us of all ages. You've just spoken about the youth, the teenage group, and now the senior citizens, and there will be activities for each and every one of those groups. And that speaks so well for your theater.
that's exactly true, Jim. I was nothing more than a sometimes audience member 2.5 years ago. And I can speak to the education involved in theater. I've learned lighting, I've learned sound, I've, heaven forbid, not gotten on stage, but I've stage managed, I've worked on sets, I've worked on props. There is something for everybody. If you don't need to be able to act, sing, or dance, you don't need to be comfortable in front of an audience.
Right.
But there's a place for everybody in Brunswick Little Theater. There's a role for everybody.
Very well said. I like that.
I think one aspect, too, that we are looking into, and I particularly am interested in the years to come, is working with groups with special needs through theater.
Tell us more about that.
Well, for a number of years, I worked with assisted living residents in a continuing care community and Alzheimer's patients, and I learned so much about the power of music and theater, especially with
Right.
Alzheimer's people, where you can reach out and touch that person's heart through a remembered song, through dancing with them, or even if they played the piano years earlier. I will never forget that a woman with Alzheimer's sat down and played Clair de Lune on the piano,
Wow.
just from memory, from having been a young adult, and had not played for years. And there was not a dry eye in that nursing center when she did that. And so I have a real interest in Brunswick Little Theater going out to assisted living communities,
Sure.
Which they've done in the past and would like to continue to do that, so that we really reach and honor really elderly people and people with special needs, children possibly with special needs too, that through group therapy and through theater.
That's an awesome side to your theater, and I really want our viewers to know how many different aspects there are to your theater, including that one.
The arts really do affect people's lives. It's something I've found in my involvement with Brunswick Little Theater, especially seeing these children in the Let's Play workshop, for example. I'll take pictures for our website or Facebook, and I like to go to an early class and see these children who don't even want to speak in front of other children their age.
Right.
And go back after 8, 12 weeks of these Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon sessions, and these kids will be on a stage under the lights in front of 75 or 100 of their parents and parents' friends singing their little hearts out.
It's magical, isn't
It's
it?
something I wish I would have had when I was a kid, and I
Right.
never did.
Yeah.
Well, I just too, their memories are so wonderful, and some of the skits in this particular performance that I think Jeffrey's talking about late this summer, in the fall, they memorized an enormous amount of material, and they were very, very cute skits, and they had little costumes they'd worked on, and even up on the screen they had done drawings for a backdrop, and just for a child, like Jeffrey says, to have the creative experience at
And
that
it's-
early age.
It's not just the children. We see the same thing with adults.
Good
The
point.
That's a very
actors in
good
our
point.
shows are not professional actors. Nobody in our organization is paid. We're entirely volunteer. The instructors of the workshops, the directors, the musicians that play in the pit, the people that work backstage, everybody volunteers their time. And we come from all walks of life. We're lawyers, we're teachers, we're stay-at-home moms, we're podiatrists, we're doctors, we're salesmen, we're nurses, secretaries, delivery people. We're the people in your neighborhood, and these people leave their everyday life and go to a show and become somebody else. And it's really fun to see somebody do that. There are people that you may go to for anything.
It's the
And
transformational nature of theater, is it not?
Absolutely.
You're seeing
It
your friends and
absolutely
neighbors
is.
on stage becoming somebody else and bringing magic to
Yeah.
the theater. It's really something else.
Jeffrey, your theater is a busy theater. Between now and the end of the year, you have several productions going on. Is that correct?
Yes, we do.
Tell us about those.
By necessity and because we want to. We have a lot going on between now and the end of the year. The beginning of November, the 6th through 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and the 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, we have Big Dog Productions from Wilmington coming to our theater. We're hosting them, producing The Hermit of Fort Fisher.
And that was an enormously successful
It was
program.
they sold out
In
their
Wilmington.
theater in Wilmington, and fortunately, we seat twice as many people as they do, so they can get this in front of a lot more eyes. They're excited. It was a terrific production. It's about a local legend, the
I've
Hermit
seen
of
it.
Fort
It's a
Fisher,
great show.
and is supposed to be a terrific show. So we encourage everybody to go see that. The end of November, as part of the Dickens Festival, we're going to be hosting Fezziwig's Ball and Murder Mystery.
Right.
We will teach people a little dance, do some caroling, and have to solve the murder of Jacob Marley.
Great.
That will be the Friday and Saturday after Thanksgiving. And in the mid-December, we've got the best Christmas pageant ever coming to the theater. It's a weekend of holiday fun for the whole family will enjoy. I think people are familiar with the story. It's about a family of almost miscreants who who find the joy of Christmas putting on a pageant in a church.
And
And we're in a church, so the set
Perfect
works out great.
setting.
And you're working on your 2015 productions already.
We're already putting together a really busy season in 2015. This facility will allow us to put on more productions than we have in the past.
Great.
We will still be doing a summer show in Odell Williamson Auditorium. 2015, it will be Shrek the Musical.
Good.
We're really excited about that. We'll be doing a free show in Franklin Square Park like we have in the past, but we're going to be doing a lot more in our new theater.
Fantastic, fantastic. Sue, I want you to help us wrap this up with a few final comments. You're always looking for members, volunteers, supporters.
Always looking for members and volunteers, yes. And it's such a special time for us because we have a lease purchase and an option to buy. And so, of course, we're looking for volunteers, and we're beginning a fundraising campaign. We're hoping to raise $100,000 this year to go forward with a purchase of the building. So it's an exciting time and a challenging time for us. We feel like we have so much to offer now that we have our own home, and we just hope people will join in as members and audience members and help support us in our endeavor.
Well, it's a great story you've had for us this morning. You and others within your community theater have taken theater to another level here in Brunswick County. And we thank you for being with us, Jeffrey Stites and Sue McCallum.
Thanks for the
Jim.
opportunity.
Thanks a lot. My guests are from the Brunswick Arts Council. They are Adrienne Varnum and Sue McCallum. Welcome to our show.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
You guys have a great story to tell. You really do. But Adrienne, tell us, you're president of the Brunswick Arts Council. Tell us a little bit about your background.
I grew up in Wilmington. My family, both sides of my family are Brunswick County natives. They go back generations.
I'll bet they do.
Of a name like Varnum, I certainly have some connections to the county. But my folks got married and moved to the big city of Wilmington, where I was born and raised, and started violin lessons, Suzuki method, at 5 years old, and really took to it and did that throughout my youth, and public education and private lessons and governor's school and all-state orchestra of Wilmington Symphony, and did that my whole life, and then studied writing in college. So I have quite a well-rounded arts education, but that's my background as far as the arts are concerned.
Well, Adrienne, we're so delighted that you're here in Brunswick County with the Arts Council. It's just a great story.
We really are. He brings energy and vibrancy. And I think the fact that he is a musician, he is really an artist himself, brings a lot of credibility to the role of president in the county. And the fact, too, that he's helping us bridge from Brunswick County to Wilmington. And we're just really connecting with many more people in Wilmington, and it's a very nice synergy.
That's
between
important. I want our viewers to know that the Brunswick Arts Council is, to use my term, an umbrella organization covering a number of the different arts and media. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment for sure. The council itself has, probably half a dozen or so different divisions that cover visual arts, performing arts, literature, writing,
Right.
Education. We have Connie Ennis is a board member, and she is in charge of arts education in the county. So, and the Intercultural Festival, which we had recently and on the campus of the community college. So there's a lot of different types of arts organizations within our council, and a lot of different disciplines.
Something for everyone.
Absolutely.
Right?
And I know the council members also adjudicate the one-act plays. They're very involved in that. We're very involved with Mike Sapp and the college. It's a wonderful relationship. And now more in Southport, we're developing too through the Dickens Festival, the relationship with the town there and the merchants there.
You've led perfectly into my next question. Let's talk about the Dickens Festival. Let's talk about that, please.
Well, would you like to start, Adrienne?
I think you started.
All right,
It's
well,
sort of your
start,
project.
didn't I?
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
Charles Dickens really resonates with so many people. because in his culture he was such a wonderful writer. He himself had a difficult childhood, but in spite of that, went on to help others. He had labor reform movements in that, and cultural richness. He's responsible really for the celebration of Christmas, the celebration of Valentine's Day. He funded Children's Hospital and founded that in London.
Our viewers will remember that the first Charles Dickens Festival here in Brunswick County was last year.
Well, actually, it's the second year last year. This will be the third annual.
see.
Am I correct
Yeah.
in
Okay,
saying that?
thank
Yeah,
you.
the third annual, Jim. Yes, and each one has been a little bit different, and I think very unique and wonderful. This year, it's a little more low-key, and we're focusing more on a Victorian social at the community building in Southport, and 2 performances of a Charles Dickens Christmas review.
And we'll have those dates on the screen for our viewers to be aware of.
Yes, and anything more about that, Adrian? that you'd
Well,
like
we
to
just
add?
felt that it's a good tradition for the Arts Council, and we sort of the council associated its name with the festival, and it's kind of a, I won't say a flagship program, but it's certainly something that we are proud of, and we wanted to keep that tradition going. It's grant money from the grassroots grant money helps to support it. We associate our name with the festival in Southport, and it's a good program that we really enjoy promoting each year.
Well,
And we
it's-
do involve the, we do involve the children too with an art contest that's the Dickensian theme too, and so it's very nice to draw in the students from
Well, it's
the
been
county,
it's been
too.
so well attended, and I know it will this year as well. And we'll have the dates on the screen. Adrian and Sue, thank you for being with us to tell us about the Brunswick Arts Council.
Our pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My 2 guests today are with the Brunswick Bands. They are George Boberg and Frank Mahoney. Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
You guys have a great story to tell. You really do. And I want to start by letting our audience know that you have 2 somewhat different bands. Am I correct?
Yes. The concert band is the larger of the organization, and that performing music specifically written for concert bands. And then we have a big band, which gets a bit confusing.
It does, right.
But that's a smaller group performing music basically off the big band era of the 30s and 40s.
Give us the approximate size of each band.
Well, let's see. Right, the concert band right now is I think around 50 people, and and Frank, what's the number of the big
Yeah,
band?
we're usually 17, 18 performers,
And you're all volunteers.
all volunteers. Most of the people who play in the big band also play in the concert band,
Right.
but it's not 100%.
Right.
And we also have 2 vocalists who work with us with the big band. One who has a connection, Nick, with the concert band, and the other just sings with the big band.
Right. You rehearse regularly.
We do. Both ensembles rehearse on Tuesday at Duke Energy Progress.
Good.
The big band starts its rehearsal at 5 o'clock, and the concert band comes in at 7 o'clock.
And you have an autumn concert. I know
Yes.
that much.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
We went to the autumn idea because Christmas is coming up very fast after that. We're always a lot of conflicting ideas between the various performing groups. And so we decided to be a little earlier in the season so we could have a clear run for everyone.
I think it's a great idea.
Right.
We'll put the dates and places on the screen, but suffice it to say, what kind of music will you be playing?
Well, we got quite a different combination where music from contemporary writing, we're doing some early music, for early band music, marches coming from the 19th century. We're doing one of the great compositions for concert band by Holtz called Suite in E Flat, and that's one of the great pieces written for the band. and the other, we're also going to be doing Warsaw Concerto, and my wife, Jane, is going to be the pianist. And we've got we're kind of going into big band music. We're doing a piece which is written in the style of the big band music, but it's written for concert band.
I'm kind of diverting from the questions I had in mind, but as to each of you, when did you first know that music was a huge part of your life? What do you recall, just in a sentence or two?
Well, I can tell you my earliest memories of the incentive and getting involved with music goes back to the time when the American Federation of Musicians had a strike on. And
So how old were you?
I'm guessing I was about 8,
Okay.
something like that. But I remember that was going on, but I remember I was still able to hear a musician on the radio occasionally. Nobody had TVs at this particular time. And the guy that most captured my attention was a trumpet player named Harry James.
How about that?
And a lot of people were inspired to play the trumpet by Harry James.
George, how about you? What do you first recall?
First recall is my dad also played. He was a drummer, a xylophone player, and he had instruments at home, and so I messed around with those. But I really got started in grade school,
Okay.
and just got more involved, and all the way through playing in New York City. So
Well, you both had great careers.
Oh,
I
yeah,
know
we
that.
had a great career, right.
Terrific. You have a youth component, and I want our audience to know that you have young people as a part of your bands.
Absolutely.
And you also
Yeah.
have a component where you try to provide instruments. Tell us about
We do,
both of those.
Yeah. It's a music student assistance program. Started actually when the conductor of the band was Gene Willett, and the band had not started the rotating conductor system yet. And unfortunately, while she was still the conductor of the band, Gene passed away. This was early in 2009. And there were people who had played in the band under Gene who were no longer in the group, and people who knew her, knew the band, was acquainted with it, and the family requested that financial contributions in Gene's memory should go to support the band.
Right.
And so that's a long-winded way of telling you how we got started with establishing the scholarship fund, which still goes on. And
you have high school students that play in your band on a regular
Yes,
basis.
yes, yes.
Many of whom go on to college and pursue musical
Yes,
endeavors.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Gosh, we've run out of time already. George and Frank, thank you for being with us. It's a
Okay.
great story.
If
that
I
you
could
have.
mention one more
Yes,
thing.
sir, please do.
I am the director of the Brunswick Big Band, and the autumn concert is a new mechanism for the concert band. A Christmas concert is a new thing that we're going to try this year with the big band. 1 week after the concert band's last concert, we're going to round up the big band guys and gals and do a big band concert on November 30th. It'll be at Odell Williamson Auditorium, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So that will be a different thing for us to do. We've played Christmas music before, but we've not done a pure Christmas
I'm
performance.
glad you mentioned that. That's a great story you have to tell. Thousands have seen your shows, and we hope hundreds and thousands will continue to come out and see you. Thanks
Yeah,
again for
us
being
too.
with us.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Jim. Thanks for joining us this month on Our Hometown. If you have a story that you'd like to share on a future show, visit us at atmctv.com to tell us about it. And thanks again for joining us. Tune in again next month as we explore more of our hometowns.